Hi there, this is Chris from F-Stoppers. Today we are going to talk about luminance masks and why they are one of the most underrated ways you can adjust your image. So let's begin by taking a look at channel masks, something you may already be familiar with. So with a channel mask in an RGB image, the color information is divided up into red, green, and blue channels. You'll notice that these exist in black and white. They are a kind of representation of the information that exists in the channels, where there is where there is brighter information, where there is white, that means there is more of that color. So what these allow you to do is to select parts of the information based on color. Now this is particularly useful if you want to select a thing like skin or sky. Most of your skin color exists in the red channel, most of your sky color exists in the blue channel. But sometimes you want to select parts of the image based on luminance or tonality, and this is why a luminance mask is much more helpful than a channel mask. First thing you need to do is determine what it is you are trying to create, or what it is you're trying to adjust. You can use it for color toning, you can use it to change brightness values, you can do it for a bunch of different things, so it really helps you to go in knowing what you want to adjust. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a few different ways you can use this. I'm going to begin by adding some color toning to the image. And it doesn't particularly matter what adjustment layer you use to create your color toning, whether you're using a selective color, color balance, or solid color, or photo filter, whatever it is. All that matters is what you're trying to achieve. Are you trying to add a warm color or a cold color or magenta, whatever it is. So I'm going to begin, and I'm going to add like a warm color to the highlights. I'm going to add a colder color to the shadows. That's what I'm going to try to do right now. So I'm going to use photo filters for no other reason than I happen to like the photo filter adjustment. I find that it's a very easy way to give me a lot of control. So you'll notice it goes to this warming filter by default. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. Turn off both of them just to kind of show you the effect of this. I'm going to select the mask, and this is where we're going to apply our luminance mask. How we're going to go about doing that after we've selected the mask, I'm going to go ahead and option click on it so it reveals the mask. Option click reveals the mask. I'm going to go to image, and I'm going to go to apply image. And what this is going to do is this is actually going to apply a black and white tone version of the image as my mask. You'll notice I'm on merged, but you can select individual layers. I'm also on RGB, which is all of the channels combined. I can come here and I can also add a red, green, or a blue, but for this I'm going to keep it with RGB, which is going to give an overall combined channel to my mask. Now I can, if I want, leave my blending mode on normal. This will just give me an exact stamp of what it is. I do like to leave it on multiply. With this, the reason I am putting it on multiply is because I am starting with a reveal all mask. And the reveal all mask starts white, multiply darkens the tone. If I were to start with a hide all mask, a black mask, I would change my blending mode to something like screen, or would actually make the pixels brighter. But we're going to leave it alone right now. You'll notice the invert is also deselected. We're going to come back to this in just a second. So what my mask looks like right now, I'm going to go ahead and hit enter, is my beard, my hair, parts of the cloud. This is where my effect is applied. And you can see this. It applies a nice subtle color grading effect to those tones. But what I can do, what makes this so great, is I can modify this just by hitting Command L, bringing up my levels. You notice this isn't a levels adjustment layer. I'm actually changing the pixels on the mask. I can actually change the contrast of my mask and allow more to be selected. So in this case, I've got more sky, I've got more elements of the skin, I've got very little of my shadows when I do something like this. This is terrific because it allows me to really isolate the tones that I want. Sometimes it's helpful to do the levels adjustment when you're not looking at the image, looking at the mask when you're looking at the image. But you'll see that it's now creating a much more subtle color grading. All right, so what I've got right now is I've got a yellow tone that is applied only to my highlights. Let me go ahead and warm that up a little bit. Great. Now what I want to do is I want to do the exact opposite for my shadows. So in my second photo filter layer, I'm just going to go ahead and call this one highlights, and we will call this one shadows. I'm going to go back to my apply image. Let me go ahead and turn this back on. But this time, instead of selecting the highlights, I'm going to hit invert, and that will allow me to select the shadows. Remember, just like a regular mask, where there is white, that is where the effect is applied. So I can go ahead and turn this on. This time I'm going to set my shadow color to something a little bit different. We'll set it to a blue. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to fine-tune this mask, this time without looking at it, and I can kind of see the preview a little bit here. But I'm really trying to isolate it to these tones in here. And it will allow you to change the tones in your shadows while doing a nice preservation of your highlights. And this allows for a really great way to subtly color grade your images. It's not tremendously obvious, but it is a much more effective way to do this. Now, what I'm also going to do here is I want to show you how it can be used for tone as well. So let's say I want to increase my highlights a little bit, and I want to increase the blacks in my shadows as well. So the exact same effect that I used to select the highlights or select the shadows and change the color, I can also do that for the tone too. So I'm going to create one curves adjustment layer. I'm going to brighten it up a little bit, and I'm going to go to my apply image, and I'm going to make sure invert is off, and I can turn this on. You can see it's applied it quite a bit too aggressively, but when I apply the levels again, I can really make it super specific. So now I just have this really nice bit of specularity, and I can mask this in. I can always paint on top of it if I find that it's too much in certain areas or not enough. Okay. Now the same is true the other way. If I want to add, let's say, a bit more black to the shadows, I'm just going to come to a selective color, for example, come down to the black slider, and add myself a little bit of black. It's obviously too much. I've lost way too much shadow detail in here, but I do want to refine this. So I'm going to turn it off again, only because when it's on, you'll notice that I lose a lot of the detail, and I need as much tonal range as possible to make the selection. So I'm going to go to Apply Image. I'm going to go to Invert, because remember, I'm trying to select the tones. Now you can see that I have still lost a fair amount of detail down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my levels to really fine-tune this, pretty significantly actually, and maybe even some more. Great. So what I've got is this much more rich black tone coming in down there. So I've used the apply image to target both color and tone. And it's a very quick way to allow Photoshop to select certain types of your tone to really change the overall look of your image pretty easily and pretty quickly. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed.